Well, I have been really enjoying this week in our interviews with the president of Consulting Resource Group, Keis. He has made his life's journey about discovering our personality styles, what makes us special from other people. And you know, Ken, that there's no place more important. I suppose we've got our workplace and we need to find that destiny, that purpose that God has for us according to our personal style, what works for us. Like, I could never be an accountant because
oh, really?
I couldn't do it. Yeah, they're boring. But anyways, just kidding. Just
kidding. No judgment there.
To all accountants out there. And you know, my boss is here actually, and she's very good at accounting. So this is not going well so far. What I'm saying though is that even in relationships, I suppose that our personal style really matters as to how we relate, for instance, with our spouse.
Absolutely. A lot of times when we date somebody else or we're getting into a relationship and we've met our spouse, we're attracted to opposites. And so what we see in them is really a representation of the gap that we have in ourselves. Oh, great. Laura Lynn has this spontaneous, energizing, outgoing side. And I'm the other spouse and I say, well, I want to stay home. And so what occurs is that we have these differences, and these differences, now all of a sudden I've married the difference. And what was really attractive all of a sudden becomes
really irritating.
Annoying, irritating, and say, why do you keep doing that? Why do you like that? And so for us, it's our responsibility again to learn about ourselves, but also understand the needs of the other person. I'm not saying that it's easy, but it is our responsibility to build in that relationship, because what's the other alternative? Is to be in conflict. And one of the things, and I know that we're talking about forgiveness in this segment as well, is that forgiveness to our spouse, forgiveness to our family members, to the people that are around us. One of the things we teach, Laura Lynn, is this concept of credibility. And we were talking about that off air. And so credibility is your reputation for being honest and trustworthy and a person that operates in integrity. But every single person watching this show has a level of credibility with everybody they interact with, if they want to or not. Credibility is the price you pay for showing up. And if you don't have credibility with your significant other, then what's my willingness to engage? What's my willingness to be open? What's my willingness to really give you my heart, if we want to say it that way? And the same thing with your kids or with parents or any other relative that's around you. So there's that other side where I have this acceptance, but I have to take responsibility. Now, here's where credibility goes up or goes down. Is behavior seen as appropriate by the other person, not by me? And so my credibility is going to go up or down in your eyes, Laura Lynn, based on your perception of what you think is right or what you think is appropriate. And you're filtering that through your eyes based on your personal style as one of the major contributing factors. Because we believe that you are born with this. It's a gift. It's an anchor point, though.
With the personality.
With the personality. Because here's the reality. If there wasn't a part of my essence that was consistent throughout my lifetime, we'd all be neurotic. We'd all switch. And so I'd be like you and you'd be like me tomorrow. Well, that wouldn't be very stable. There's a theme in our life, and God created it this way so that I don't have chaos. I have this consistency. So this consistency I bring into the marriage and at the same time, or any kind of relationship for that matter, and I need to be awake and aware that a lot of times we get offended. Now the root word, actually, you go into the root word, is that Satan has baited you. Offend is bait. So our preferences then bring our biases, bring our expectations, and so you do something, I'm not even aware of it, and you're offended. You're offended by what I did or also what I didn't do. I remember when I first got married, and so Brent and I were both 32 when we got married, and we had bought this townhouse, and I had this kitchen table that looked out to the carport. She was a teacher at that time, and she was coming back from college teaching. It was probably 9 o'clock at night. I was reading the paper, and we're only maybe 2 or 3 months married, so hey, we're happy still. Kidding. And so as she comes into the door, her arms are all full of books, and I continue reading the paper. And she was mad with me. Well, why was that? Because I wasn't conscious. Maybe I should have got up and opened the door. So was I sitting at the table trying to offend her? No, I wasn't. So a lot of times we look at our significant other or our partner or even our kids, and we said, oh, you did that on purpose. Sorry, you're giving me too much credit. I was not even awake or conscious of the fact that my behavior was eroding our relationship. And so that's why I encourage all the viewers is that you need to pay attention to that. You know, get a hold of one of the assessments that we have, understand who you are, understand your significant other are, and then start having a dialogue and a discussion about it. Because now you're saying, okay, Ken didn't mean to do that. Now, by the way, just so everybody knows, I now open the door, okay, so you don't have like hate mail because Ken doesn't open the door. Is no, I do. I'm trained. I'm conscious of it. I'm awake of those, that my behavior is constantly having impact in all of my relationships.
And it really is about getting more and more awake and aware to who we are and also who the other person is. Is it about expectations? You're talking about we judge others very quickly. You
Yes.
meant to do that. You're trying to offend me. You're trying to hurt me. You're, you know, in your own world.
And the reality is, I think that for the majority of people, that's not the case. We are simply going down our own path without being conscious, without being awake, without being intentional about that my behavior is having impact, so is theirs. And so part of this whole process is grace. I mean, we get that through the Holy Spirit, and it's also just understanding, okay, can I manage myself? We talked about that in the segment with Brian about, you know, you need to be in charge of your personal style. Either your personal style is in charge of you or you're in charge of it. So I don't use it as an excuse for the different things that I'm doing and how I interact with others. And so I need to be conscious of those pieces so that I can be intentional, build relationship with you.
So do you think that there are some personal styles? I believe you narrow it down to 4. There's probably give and take and they cross over, but some would be quicker to forgive than others.
Absolutely, and there'll be other people who are be more decisive than others. And they say, why does it take you so long to make decisions? How our model works is that we actually have 4 dimensions: the behavioral action, affective expressive, cognitive analysis, interpersonal harmony. What's different about our model than just about anybody else in the world is that we are blends of those 4. And some people are very task and people-oriented. Some people are very extroverted and introverted. They're balanced between the two. And so we teach that diversity. And that's when, you know, people take our tools in marriage counseling, or if they're working in seminars, or if they're working on job fit, whatever case it is, all of a sudden they have a resource, and we cover it in the book Wired to More Like Me, is the diversity that I bring to the table, these patterns or combinations or blends, and as they all work together, then that's the uniqueness that I bring to the relationship and the ownership that I have as far as the relationship with you and with others.
And so we can work on these things in life that are difficult.
Oh, absolutely. I think part of that is just, again, to say that these are my preferences, and in understanding, acceptance goes up.
Thank you, Ken. You're going to be back for a couple more days. I am looking forward to finding more about myself, and maybe you could give me a little assessment in your mind and help me to get over some of the personal
We will.
hurdles that
Yes.
I've been going through. Thank you, Ken.